My focus is supporting people in doing the inner work that creates outer success. Because for me, an empowered person creates a better world for themselves and everyone around them.
Redefine what success looks like. Success is the process.
And for me, I think it's really about learning to fall in love with the process instead of only craving the destination.
And that's what we're here for. We're here to continue to grow, and to continue to evolve, and to become better and better versions of ourselves.
When we evolve 360, right? So you're not redoing what you've already done, you're expanding more into something bigger. And so you're going deeper into the old story and unraveling it on a deeper level.
It is in the practicing, it is in the teaching your nervous system that you are safe.
You show up in the fullness of who you are everywhere you go, and then everybody benefits from you being in coherence and integrity with your truest values.
People can feel your passion and your excitement when you show up as your full self.
There's a certain balance, right? The balance of doing the inner work so you can get on board with yourself, and then taking the action to really reflect your self-value and your commitment to showing up in the work that you want to claim for yourself and the space that you want to create in the world.
You are the one that you've been waiting for. No need to knock open the door. Take the leap and be the dream. Be the Dream is your guide to authentically sharing your voice and stepping into the life you've always wanted. Whether through music, speaking, or creative expression, we're here to help you own your unique sound and make an impact. I'm Carolee Garrison, and this is your time. As a lighthouse for aspiring vocalists, I'm here to illuminate the path to fearless self-expression, helping you tap into your most vivacious voice. Through powerful interviews and expert insights, you're going to gain the confidence to be heard, be seen, and finally be the dream. Hello, welcome back to the Be the Dream podcast. I'm so excited for today's episode. We are going to talk to Anik Malenfant. She is an empowerment coach, a speaker, and the founder of Ascension Academy, known for helping soul-led individuals step into their purpose without compromising their values. After a 15-year career in finance left her feeling unfulfilled, she followed her intuition and rebuilt her life from the inside out. Today, she guides others to do the same, blending inner work, intuitive development, and practical strategies to help purpose-driven people own their voice, trust their path, and design a life they love. Her story is one of resilience, reinvention, and fearless self-expression. Guys, she's incredible. I'm so excited to share her story, and do not forget to check the show notes because she has offered an amazing gift for all of us. It's really beautiful, and you're not going to want to miss out on that. Welcome, Anik. Thank you so much for joining us.
Anik, I am so thrilled to get to know you today and to hear all about your life and what you do as an empowerment coach and how you change lives. So I really would just love to dive right in and hear about the before. I would love for you to paint us a picture of the before, because who you are now is fabulous and amazing, and like we all want to be you, right? So I want to hear the before, what life was like before, and show us how you made this journey into the person that you are now.
I would love to. Thank you so much, Carolee, for having me on here. And I think this is a really great time for us to be having this conversation because there are just so many people desiring something more out of their lives. And if sharing my story can inspire and provide a roadmap for other people, I would love to share that. So I'll back up. I worked in finance. I worked on the stock market for almost 20 years. Wow. I did an extensive amount of training and licenses and a whole bunch of like hoops that you need to jump through in order to have the legal right to work on the stock market. So there's a lot of legality.
And for a lot of people, that like is the dream, right? And then there's like the shifting of dreams.
It's a great dream. I know lots of extremely purposeful and prosperous people who work on the stock market, who work in finance, who work in accounting, who are lawyers. There's no specific job that will give you that joy. So before we get into that part, because I don't want to ruin the end of the story. I'll start at the beginning. And so I was working in that field, and I was very successful, corner office, overlooking the water, drove an Audi, had all the
Mm.
things, checked all the boxes. I did what the counselor said, find something that you're good at that you can make money doing. Boom, happiness. And so I was going through my checklist of happy life, and I kept wondering, like, okay, so when's it gonna show up? Because I kept chasing the next ring on the ladder, wondering, is this when I'm going to really have that sustained fulfillment? Because I get excited and happy, and I'd be like, yay, me, I did the thing. And that happiness and that fulfillment was very fleeting. So then I had to chase the next goal or the next big client or the next achievement or the next level of income. And so I found myself chasing joy instead of experiencing it.
Wow.
What the catalyst was for me, and here's a powerful question for anybody to ask themselves or something similar. I woke up one morning with this elephant of dread on my chest, and I was like, "Oh no, I have to do it again." And I loved what I did. I loved my clients. I was good at it. So it wasn't like there was anything wrong, but it was that feeling, that ever-growing feeling of lack that was expanding within me. And when I woke up that morning, I remember asking out loud, there has got to be more to life than this. That
Mm.
is so powerful. When you ask a question out loud, the universe answers. And so, actually, within a few months, the trajectory of my career completely changed. There was transitions happening. And so, this almost what in the moment seemed like, oh no, everything's falling apart, it was actually everything's falling away. And what happened in retrospect now is this beautiful golden path to my dreams manifested itself. And
Oh.
because I had the capacity to tune in to my what's next for me, instead of trying to hang on to recreating what I had when things started to move, I started asking those inner questions. Who am I? Why am I here? What's important to me? What's going to give me that real sense of joy and freedom? And so I did work a little bit in finance after that main career, because I'd worked for multiple banks and dealerships and all sorts of things. And I remember getting my last offer. So I was working for another financial company, and they offered me the branch manager position, and they're because I was like, well, this is how much it's going to cost, and here's what I want to do, and here's I want 6 weeks vacation. And they're like, well, we usually don't do that. I'm like, that's fine, because I was at a point where I was like, if I'm going to keep doing this, it's going to be this much, right? So it was kind of like my FU price.
Yeah.
And so to my surprise, they're like, all right, we know we figured out the budget. We're gonna find coverage for your space. Like, here's the job. And I was like, oh no, I was really not expecting them to accommodate my request. So then I really needed to lean in, because there was that part of me that really was tempted to just say yes and to just go along with something that felt off. And that moment was probably the moment of courage for me. It was the moment of saying no thank you to that opportunity and saying yes to my inner curiosity of what more was available to me. And
I
then
love
that
this.
question
I love it.
created a powerful transition. I was able to access space within my life to create real opportunity for self-discovery, for inner work. Because what my journey had lacked before was the inner work and the foundation of what my core values are, what it meant for me to show up in integrity, what I authentically wanted. That wasn't part of the decision making process for me. It was like, well, this looks good on paper, and everyone else who has that seems happy, so I should probably get one of those too. Right?
Yes, and you just stepped right into the unknown. And so many of us in life are like so afraid of the what's next when it's a huge question mark. But then when you exactly what you did, you shifted that perspective to a an excited feeling instead of the
Mhm.
fear of what's next, what else is possible in this most incredible, amazing life I could be living. Because how often do we settle for the mediocre of this
Mm.
is fine, but we don't have to?
And I find that's the hardest thing. I was actually just talking to a client last week about a challenge that they're having because things were fine and they're moving from good to better. And I was like, ooh, I was like, yeah, that one's harder because when you are in a toxic, unhealthy experience,
Mm,
you're like, oh yeah, I gotta get rid of this. And making that shift to saying no to the bad thing and yes to the good thing is admittedly easier. But saying no to good to go from better or greatness, that's where courage and self-trust is really required.
wow, that's so powerful. So, in this transition, was it, was there a dip? Did you have a lot of fear? Like, what was that transition like? Because for some people, they're like, oh, I built this huge ramp, this on ramp into my next beautiful life, and it was a pretty simple flow and everything was amazing. But for a lot of people, there's like a dip and it takes time to adjust and to become the next best version of yourself.
Mhm. I was fortunate in the sense that I had savings and finances where I chose to take a sabbatical. Now, I know not everybody is in that space. What each of us can do is create more space in our lives for that inner work. So I've worked with people who are transitioning from where they are to where they want to be all the time, and very few of them are quitting their jobs cold turkey, saying no to their paychecks and diving into the next thing. That's the tip of the iceberg for how most people will shift into a transition. Because when you're diving into a transition, the work that needs to happen before you dive into the new thing happens before the new thing pops up. So I would say if you're craving something more, begin to look at different areas of your life where you can say yes to change now. That's not going to necessarily impact the money you need to survive, right? So you said earlier you coach speaking clients. It's like, I want to be a speaker. Okay, well, go, where can you go speak as a volunteer?
Postmasters.
Yeah, or
Right.
go
I'm like
apply for
kids'
something.
classrooms. Like there's all sorts of
Exactly.
opportunities.
So you start doing the thing, but even before that, and this is the where I really focus my work because this is really reflective of where I came is for me, it's about the inner work that you do in order to create the outer success. So that is like my zone of genius is okay, so
Love, love,
what do
love
you
it.
need to know, to do, to be, to choose to have to have the thing to create the life of your dreams. And for me that's all an inside job, and I have no greater joy than walking people through and being that in between person until they start to have that self-confidence to begin to listen to those inner nudges. So for me, it's really about tuning into the inner story that's creating the outer limits of our reality.
Yes. Yes. Okay. So when I teach speakers, one of the things that we start with is like when you are, you know, speaking on a stage and you find yourself in a ball in the back of the stage, curled up, and you're like, "Ah," it's because you really don't want to be there. And it starts with that inner work of like, what is it that is making you shy away from opening yourself up and being all of yourself in front of these people? It is the inner story, it's that inner narrative that is keeping you. It's not, hey, you need to open your arms up, you need to have this head gesture. It's not the techniques that are stopping you, it's the inner story, and you can't combat it unless you know what it is.
I love that. And I want to illustrate your point because something came through while you were talking is even if you have the perfect tempo for your speech, even if you have all the right mannerisms and the posture, what makes your talk really land is the energy that you bring to it and your
Mm,
magnetism. And when you're not in alignment with what you're sharing and you're feeling uncomfortable and not confident about the value of what you're sharing, that energy is shares the carrier wave of what you're saying. And it
Everyone
really
could feel
changes.
it. They can
Yeah,
all feel
everyone.
it.
I don't know
Yeah.
if she really believes what she's saying.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, people can read your energy like a book, and it's
Hmm.
amazing because even if they can't put it in words, like they can feel it. And
People
so
know
if
when
you,
something's off. Yeah.
oh yeah, and so if you're up there and you're like, I do not want to be here, I am scared, I feel insecure, I feel like I am too fat, too short, too ugly, too whatever. I don't like my voice, I don't like whatever about myself, and you're like shrinking.
Mm.
People can sense that, and they're like,
Yeah. And I would add, though, don't let that stop you from being on stage and sharing your message anyway. So you shared that earlier. It's about taking action. Action creates confidence, it
it's
creates alignment and clarity. And so there's a certain balance, right? The balance of doing the inner work so you can get on board with yourself and then taking the action
mm,
to really reflect your self-value and your commitment to showing up in the work that you want to claim for yourself and the space that you want to create in the world. So I think it's a real
mm.
balance of back and
Oh,
forth, right?
absolutely. And this is literally my favorite because this is one of the things I teach is like it is in the practicing, it is in the teaching your nervous system that you are
Hmm.
safe on that stage. And this is just like a little microcosm example, but it can be applied to everything that you're doing in your life. It is teaching your nervous system that you are safe in whatever scenario you're trying in your dream, because it's
Hmm.
about stepping into your dream, right? It's showing your body and all of you that you are safe here and that you can do it. And no one's, it doesn't matter what anyone else does. You are amazing and whole and all of the things just as you are. And it takes the doing it over and over and over and over again and combating that story that you started with to go, okay, it's
Exactly.
not true. I'm okay. Doesn't matter. I got this. And
Yeah.
you have to do it 100 times. And then you're like, oh, no, I've done it 100 times. My body knows how to do this.
Well, then it becomes like a habit.
Yeah.
And then whenever you think you got everything figured out,
Oh,
you
yeah.
grow and evolve as a person. And then you're like, oh, there's my comfort zone again, being stretched, right?
Uh-huh. And
So,
that's what we're here for. We're here to
yeah,
continue to grow and to continue to
exactly.
evolve and to become better and better versions of ourselves.
Exactly, exactly. And for me, I think it's really about learning to fall in love with the process instead of
Mm,
only craving the destination. Because the reality is that the destination of your life is your deathbed. So if you're only like focused on where you're going and never enjoying the present moment and the experience of creating your
mm.
dreams, well, you're missing out on like 99% of your life because the destination is just a slice of it.
I love it. Okay, so I've been exploring like success and pondering on success lately. And
Mhm.
just it's like we tend to think of success as like I'm just laying on a beach with a drink in my hand with no responsibilities and nothing to do. And I was like, that's just like death. Like there's no action, there's no all of my favorite things involve doing something. They involve action, they involve contrast. They
Mhm.
involve problem solving. They involve being. And I'm like, I would miss out on everything. I'd get bored so fast. And so I was like, I need to redefine what success looks like. Success is the process. Success is in the contrast. Oh, hey, I really do actually want the hard things because that's what makes life exciting.
I have a same but different perspective. I think
Okay.
I'm always very careful to call in, I want the hard things because the universe always responds to our
Well,
requests.
contrast. I
Yeah.
should say contrast because
Well, and I've also learned that here's to tell you a little bit more about my
let's hear it.
background. And
Yeah.
here's why I recognize contrast as a valuable teacher, and I also love it when I get to choose something different. And let me share why. So for all of our
Yeah.
listeners who are deeply choosing contrast and that feels, like a level of suffering, we want to bring them up a little bit. So one of my past part of my I feel like it's a past life almost because I feel like such a different person. But one of the challenges that I had personally was one of my first boyfriends was extremely abusive, like physically, financially, emotionally, mentally, all the abuse. And over 15 years, I had very toxic relationships. And so, through contrast, through going out with all the jerks, and I was that girl going out with the same guy with a different name, with a different haircut, same asshole, I learned because each one was a little bit better than last time what love was by experiencing what it wasn't. So, for me, that defines contrast. What my life looks like now is I am learning what love is by being loved, by being cherished, by being appreciated, by being respected by my soulmate. And so
Mm.
for me, given the choice, because hard things are going to happen, but how my subconscious was learning is I want to learn what love is. So I go find more examples of what it wasn't. I loved learning through contrast. It was like my most favorite tool because it gave such a clear lesson. But when I started to recognize how the subconscious patterns can choose between learning through contrast, I can learn through hate what love is, but I can also learn what love is through what love is. And
Mm.
so a little bit of the contrast from you can go from bad to good, which is what I was doing when I was in those really toxic relationships. And you can also go from good to greatness. That's also contrast. So I'm more specific about the type of contrast that I'm choosing. And I've done a lot of subconscious work, and I'm always focusing on this with my clients because like I would love for you to have a higher scale of contrast
I love it.
than creating the problem so you can find the solution and then develop yourself. It's like, what if you have the problem having too many solutions? That is also contrast to create clarity and decision making, right? So
Mm.
there's different paths to developing those virtues that aren't necessarily always signing you up for suffering because life dishes out enough suffering.
So
We
true.
don't need our subconscious like, hey, let's blow stuff up so I can learn as a person and be like, no, thanks, I'm good.
Yes, no, that's beautiful and amazing. And I love, love, love this perspective. That's really, really powerful. I was coming from, I have three kids with special needs. Uh, and
Yeah.
and I was, originally imagining myself on this beach with no one around me, like, hey, this is success. And then I was like, wait a minute, I would lose the
Where my
hardest.
baby's at?
Right. I was like, I would lose the hardest and greatest parts of my life, the most country. I have a severely autistic, nonverbal type 1 diabetic 14-year-old
Mm,
who I adore, but who's also very, very, very contrast.
yeah.
So that's where my perspective was, whereas I was like, I still want that. As much as that is hard,
Hmm.
I would never want to not have that. So that's perspective is the most beautiful thing. And
Yeah.
that's one of my favorite things about podcasting is getting all the perspectives and
Hmm.
seeing the broad range. So I want to hear about what you do as an empowerment coach because I feel like we're just in it and being empowered by you. And I want to hear about your coaching and from a more like tell us what you do kind of one.
Well, the brass tacks is essentially my focus is supporting people in doing the inner work that creates outer success. Because for me, an empowered
Love
person
it.
creates a better world for themselves and everyone around them. Period. So for me, I've got an 11-year-old, so I'm, different level of need, but also same level of commitment to creating a better world for
Yeah.
our babies who are going to inherit it. So for me, when I show up is how can I help the world be a better place? And my theme, because it's been throughout my life, is really focused on empowerment. And for me, when I look at what does one require in order to be empowered to create the life of their dreams, the first thing they need is self-discovery and self-awareness, which is a big focus of my work. The second element that they need is self-trust that is specifically built through intuitive discernment. Because if you can't tell between when your fear is leading you and when love is leading you, then you're getting these mixed messages all the time. And then you're constantly not able to trust your decision making and you're always questioning yourself. So for me, that discernment is really key to be empowered and going, there's my ego again. Hi, are you still here? And not in a confronting and fighting way, because our egos and our minds and our limiting beliefs are always going to be there. Our fears are always going to be there. And so the approach that I take is they get a voice, but they don't get a vote. They're not the ones driving the car, but they're in there with you. So it's about deciding how much or how little you want to engage with that inner critic. That's always going to have something to share. That's also showing you exactly where the bodies are buried of the inner work that you need to get done, right? So it's
Yes.
it's 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 showing your cards to you,
Oh,
right?
it's so
So I love
true.
to use it.
And
Yeah, I'm like, oh, tell me all about tell me about your inner critic story, because basically it's just laying out exactly what needs to be healed.
it's an unraveling process. It's literally like you're like, I
Exactly.
think I got this. I'm doing so great. And then it's like, ooh,
Yeah.
let me show you all the ways in which you still need to heal a bit.
Mhm.
Oh, I just
Yeah.
had this happen like in the last 2 days. So I was like, oh, yeah, okay. I guess I still have to work on that one.
Yeah. Well, and I remember when I was doing this work, because I've been at this for almost 15 years, and I'd be like, oh no, didn't I heal that? And I went through a phase where I'd be frustrated because I was like, oh, well, that must mean that that coach didn't help me, or that healing didn't happen, or this growth that I didn't count. But what I've learned is that when something pops back up, when we evolve 360, right? So you're not redoing what you've already done, you're expanding more into something bigger. And so you're going deeper into the old story and
Mm.
unraveling it on a deeper level. So that's
Yeah.
basically what I spend my days doing, which I completely love. I get to work with soul-led professionals and with real spiritual go-getters to tune into their inner wisdom, to be able to trust and use their intuition to make powerful decisions to create the life they want to lead. And I help them
Mm.
clarify A, what that is, and B, how to get it. So that's kind of the quick and dirty of what I do. I do that through one-on-one clients. I teach and certify practitioners and in development training so they can do it themselves. So they know how to reprogram their mindset. They can know how to release emotions. They know how to shift their frequency and their vibe. And one of the things that I do that I'm so excited is to launch actually this year is the Your Solid podcast, Your Solid Business podcast, which
Yay.
is all about having conversations with business owners who are leading their business through intuition and who are creating outer success through inner work. Because I'm sure you've noticed, but the marketplace, the economy, the conscious business model is here. And to create the prosperity that we want to access, we need to show up differently in our work. I mean, quiet quitting is an all-time high. Most employees and people are disengaged from what they're doing. They're completely dissatisfied, and so many people are seeking more, which is exactly why this podcast is such a powerful conversation to be having. And I feel that's the element that I love to speak to, because I work with so many professionals, entrepreneurs, C-level executives, and it's like, how can you show up within your core values in the boardroom, in the classroom, in the courtroom, with your kids, so that you get to show up as the best version of you no matter where you are. You don't have to wear one mask when you get home and another mask when you go to the office and another mask when you're with your girlfriends. You get to show up in the fullness of who you are everywhere you go, and then everybody benefits from you being in coherence and integrity with your truest values.
Mm. Yes.
So all of
And
that.
the whole world is like such a better place when we do that because, again, that energy is contagious wherever you are. People can feel your passion and your excitement when you show up as your full self.
Yes.
Just,
You
yes. All
create
right.
movements and you inspire change, and
Yeah.
you raise the bar for people in such a powerful way, not in a judgy way, not in a criticism way, in a This is also possible for you way.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes. All right. As we wrap up, tell me a little bit about Ascension Academy.
So Ascension Academy is a space where real high level go-getters can find quality programs. So one of the things that was really important to me was to vet the practitioners that provided services, because the personal growth space has blown up and expanded so much in the last 10 years
Yeah.
that you can get a Reiki certification out of a Cracker Jack box these days. And so
Yeah.
something that was really important for me, and I don't know if it's because of my corporate background, and I used to work in finance, so we have a lot of ethical obligations and professional standards. And so for me, it was really important to create space for those practitioners who focus on upholding ethical standards and professional levels, even when the industry doesn't regulate these different modalities. So that was
Um,
important for me. And so the community is essentially masters of their craft, creating and sharing their zone of genius. So that's what we do is we teach, we empower, and we do it as a community to uplift the world in the way that we were meant to. So each with a unique gift.
that's amazing. I love it so much. Oh, this has been so beautiful. Tell us how we can find you and follow you and work with you.
Oh, perfect. You can find me at ascensionacademy.life. Anik Malenfant on pretty much Facebook, Instagram. I think that's it. I'm definitely a Gen Xer, so I have a limited of profiles. And I'll be sure to make sure that you have my links so that you can add them to the show
Awesome.
notes as well. I do want to mention I have a free program that is the Alchemy of the Self, which would feel like a really great fit for the conversation that we were having today. So that was just coming through because essentially it's like, how do I grow from who I am into who I want to become? And it really
Beautiful.
speaks to that inner alchemy. So I'm happy to offer that to your listeners as a free gift. It's like no
Oh,
strings attached.
amazing. Oh, I
Obviously,
love,
you have
love
to
it.
give us your email so we can send you the
Yeah.
content and stuff. But I'd love to share that and support
Wow.
people in becoming better versions of themselves.
Oh, thank you so much. That's amazing. All right. Thank you. This has been such a beautiful conversation. So appreciate you.
Oh, I appreciate you too. Thanks for having me
Thank
on.
you.
Thank you for joining me for this episode of the Be the Dream podcast. In the show notes, you're going to find links to be a guest on the show, the free Jumpstart Journal, and a place to book your free 15-minute one-on-one coaching call where I will guide you on how to step more fully into your dream. Don't forget to share this episode with a friend. Let them know that you're thinking about them, and let's share inspiration with as many people as we can. We could all use a little more motivation. See you next time, and until then, remember to be the dream.